What's going on, guys? I want to jump on here, do a quick video. Hopefully you're getting out shooting, getting everything dialed in. It's getting time. We're trying to get broadheads tuned. We're trying to get our whole setup dialed in. So I want to jump on here and do a quick video, hopefully help you guys out with broadheads a little bit. Specifically if you're shooting fixed heads, check this video out. Should help you get dialed in. So there's basically two ways, in my opinion, to do this. You can just go straight out to the target with your broadheads. What we're trying to accomplish here is we're trying to get our broadheads to group with our field tips, okay? So that's what we're trying to accomplish. So you can go straight to the range and shoot your broadheads and make some adjustments. Or what I like to do, and this helps you get a little bit more precise, is I like to bare shaft tune before I even go out to the range. This will help get a visual through the paper. You can tune each individual arrow because not every arrow is going to shoot the same. So we can get each individual arrow dialed in before we even fletch, and that's going to get you really, really close. A lot of times you don't have to make any adjustments after that. Once you get these arrows bare shaft shooting a bullet hole, they're going to be pretty dang close with broadheads. But at the end of the day, if you're going straight out to the range with the broadheads, you're going to be making the same exact adjustments as if you were just bare shaft tuning. So it helps to have a bow press. If you got a local shop to work with, or if you got a buddy that's got a bow press, or I encourage everybody to work on their own equipment. So we've got everything in here that you need. You can get kind of close sometimes without a bow press, but a bow press will really help you get dialed in. I got a sheet of paper to shoot through to see your paper tears. So all that equipment will really help in this scenario. I'm going to shoot this bare shaft through the paper and see what kind of tear we get. 439. So what we want to do is, and this is really splitting hairs and getting precise, but what I like to do is to try to mimic the weight of the fletchings on the back. I'll wrap some tape. We got some electrical tape right here, and we'll wrap it around the back of the arrow to kind of mimic the weight of the veins being on there. So with this, I mean, you're trying to be precise with your setup. A lot of people get intimidated, I think, by shooting fixed heads, and I think that's why a lot of people will just kind of resort to shooting a mechanical, because they do fly better. I mean, not that you can't get a fixed head to fly good, because you can, but it's just a lot easier a lot of times to get a mechanical to tune. So we're trying to get a fixed head to tune and shoot good at long range. 465, close enough. 1 grain off, so that won't matter at all. All right, so we got our bare shaft. We're going to shoot it through paper, and I'm assuming this is going to be pretty far out of tune. And we know our rest is centered. Like we know the center shot on our bow is how we like it. So let's rip one through paper, see what we get. All right, so we got a pretty bad tear. This tear right here is, you see your field tip hits right here, it's tail left. You will never get a broadhead to shoot very good with that tear. I mean, you have to have this arrow coming out of the bow perfectly true, because when you think about it, if I have a fixed blade broadhead on here and this thing is kicking left or right, all that those blades are going to do is it's going to kick to the side and it's going to catch air and it's just going to dive. So to give you a visual, we're going to go out and we're going to shoot a broadhead and kind of see what that flight looks like. So let's go show you a bad arrow flight with a broadhead. All right, so you can see the flight dip really hard to the right, which is obviously not good. That's not going to group with field tips. So just to kind of give you a visual, let's shoot the bare shaft. The broadhead should mimic this bare shaft pretty good. So let's see what it does. All right, she whipped pretty hard. So we got got the fixed blade broadhead and the bare shaft shooting similar. So like I said, if you want to just skip the whole bare shaft part, you can, but I like to do it because it allows you to be a little bit more precise. So let's go back into the shop and we'll make the adjustments on the bow to take that tear out. We'll show a bullet hole, and then we'll show the results with your broadhead to show that it's gonna shoot just perfect. So let's go do it. Yeah, so my field tips are impacting up in this area. I'm sighted in pretty good, and then obviously bare shaft and broadhead both dipping to the right. So not good. Don't recommend trying to hunt with that, and it can be frustrating trying to get this out, but it's really not as hard as it seems sometimes. So let's make this little adjustment. We'll be dialed in. I'll put a chart up on the screen. So with Hoyt, based on the way that your tail, if you got a tail right or tail left, you're going to shim the cams one way or the other. So what we're going to do is, as you can see, we got the thicker shim on this side, and then we got the thinner one on this side. All we're going to do is swap those, and it should clean up a lot of that. We've got our rest centered 13/16 to the center of the arrow off the shelf, so we don't want to adjust that. I only want to use my rest for really small adjustments. That needs a much larger adjustment. We're going to adjust the cam lean. So based on what bow you have, some of the older bows, you can yoke tune them, and other bows have different ways to adjust the cam lean. So the cam lean is going to get you a lot more of an adjustment than moving your rest would. So let's get this thing in the press, and we'll get the cam shimmed over, and then we'll shoot it through paper, and we're going to keep shooting through paper until we get a perfect bare shaft bullet hole. All right, so we got a tail left hair. We're going to shim our cam to the left. So all you do on the Hoyt, they make a tool for this that makes it a lot easier, so you don't drop these shims. But I don't have that tool, so I got lucky there and caught them. So now we're going to shim our cam over to the left. We got the thicker side. It's going to go on the opposite side where we had it before. And this is not as difficult as it may seem. Oop. Until you start doing that. So we're just going to pop that thicker shim onto the axle. So when you're doing this, make sure that your fingers are adjusted evenly. You don't want to have too much pressure on one finger than the other side, because it makes lining everything up a lot more difficult. So make sure you got your fingers adjusted properly. It makes this a lot easier. Nothing to it. Pop this screw back in the axle. They're super easy because they just got these little screws. They used to have the little clips that you had to pop off, and you lose the clips, and they were hard to get back on, but this is an easier system here. All right. Make sure everything's still on the tracks. All right, we should be good to go. I think we're going to be pretty close to where we need to be. We're getting close. Getting close. All right, so we still got a little bit. We took a lot of that tail left hair out. Now we're getting close. So now when we're this close, and this is the benefit to shooting a bare shaft, we can probably most likely take that little bit of a tear out with just knock tuning. So what I'll do is I'll shoot, and then every shot I'll just turn it about 1/8 of a turn or so, not even 1/4 of a turn. I'll go 1/8 of a turn, shoot it again, and it should change that bullet, or it'll change the tear until we get a bullet hole, hopefully. So pretty close, and that would probably, that tear right there would probably be kind of tough. I think you'd be pretty close with broadheads, but we want to get it just perfect. All right, perfect. All right, so as you can see, we made a couple adjustments, and we got a perfect bare shaft bullet hole. All we did was spun the nock 1/8 at a time until we got the perfect spot. So now, what I would do is I would do that with each arrow that I plan on hunting with, each arrow that I'm going to shoot a broadhead with. And so what I'd do is I would take and I would make a mark with a Sharpie right here down the top, and I would fletch these arrows with my cock vane right down that line. So unless you get some sort of fletching contact, this is going to shoot absolutely perfect with a field tip fletched broadhead. It should shoot perfect. So now we'll go out, got the bow tuned, we made the adjustment that we need to make. Now we're going to throw a broadhead on, and we're going to see if we can match the field tips up with the broadheads. It should shoot really good. So let's see what it does. And you can see how this broadhead's spinning perfectly true. It's really a good idea to get one of these spinners. That broadhead has got no wobble. So we know our insert, our broadhead, everything is perfectly streamlined. And just for an example, I think I've got one that's bent over here. Let's put a bent one on. Can you see that wobble? So it's a good idea to get one of these spinners. As you can tell on this one, this broadhead's used, the ferrule is actually bent a little bit. So if you try to do any of this without a perfectly straight broadhead and a perfectly straight insert, you're going to drive yourself crazy. You're going to pull your hair out because you're never going to achieve good groups. You're just going to go crazy trying it. So it's super important to make sure that each broadhead that you're shooting is everything's perfectly aligned. You got to get those blades aligned perfectly to achieve good flight. So this one is not one we're going to hunt with. All right, so now we're going to shoot broadhead first. Always shoot broadhead first, because if you shoot anything else and then your broadhead's behind it, and if it does group good, you're going to be slicing your fletchings off like crazy. So broadhead first. She should hit good. Let's see. Kind of went through the target. All right, so we got everything shooting pretty good. That's our broadhead, that's our field tip, and that little difference at 35 yards could be me. So I feel pretty good about it. We got everything pretty dialed in. We'll keep tinkering, and hopefully that helps y'all understand a little bit about broadhead tuning. That's the way I like to do it, and shoot the bear shafts first. That way you don't have to come out here and tear your target up. You'll get everything pretty close, and then put your broadheads on, and you can make little fine minor adjustment with your rest after that. So hope that helps. Catch y'all on the next one.